before we saw Ming Ming run over his own damn teammate, is that since this is one of those areas of the map that you don't see a lot of play in, it's going to be the very veteran teams, the teams with a lot of confidence that are going to be more willing to do informative splits. So like you see Twisted Minds, they were in a 3-1, but a lot of the teams that are a little bit newer, they're going to be on top of each other. Cerberus, Sonics, I mean Sonics obviously not new, but new happy. Some of these teams are opting to play it more safe by keeping everybody right on top of each other.
Definitely. You see Luke here scouting forward, well aware that there's still a GNL player inside this compound. It's only phase 2. Blue and he has a jammer pack on, so not too much to worry about in terms of damage taken. In the meantime now, of course, just trying to find an entry point in. They have Purdy closer to the circle towards the southern side, so could just default back to that, but smart. They take a little bit of extra time. They know they're late to the rotation here, but because we haven't seen more action in this rotation, they know great teams are going to all be jammed up on that hillside. If we can avoid the hill altogether and only come up in the very late game, we're going to be off so much better. New circle pops, and far north we go once more. Again, we're chartering we're going into uncharted territory is what I'm trying to say. As these circles take us far up north, we're going to see a lot of contest in and around the open sides, especially towards the east side, where both phase 17 and potentially Petrichor are going to be coming in. I mean, Petrichor, off of not getting an E-pick up here, Power, that might be a blessing in disguise.
I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, Sonics are on the clock. They have the ideal position, almost dead center circle inside of a compound, both sides of the road.
Yeah.
This is one of those games where you look at it and you're like, okay, we need to get some points off of this thing because we got a little bit lucky. So let's see what happens with that, if anybody decides to try to really pressure them. Meanwhile, all those teams on that south side, again, you can see some starting to run into each other, but it's still pretty slow.
It is. Everyone is hesitant. Everyone is waiting for a third-party opportunity, but there aren't really any presenting themselves. There is a bit of a fight going on here, but it's outside the circle. There's no big gains in trying to engage in this fight if you're already in a better spot yourself. But Friggs and FaZe both fighting their way up the hillside, and worse for wear is for both these teams, whether you come out victorious or not, this is the first of many, many, many fights you're going to have to take to try and make your way up the hill.
Big shots there from Bean. Gets him right before he's able to hide behind that tree. Unfortunately, the smoke not going to be in a spot to land. And now Corexy is in a little bit of a no man's land here. Gustav, Salute knows he's down in that bush, but he might not be able to see him. Gustav will go down to the grenade from Salute now as the P90 is singing through the smoke. Gets Corexy down to about quarter health.
Yep, it's P90 Warfare. Human, first one to push on forward. Tries to see can find teams. They knew he was further up the hillside. It took a few shots early, now getting shot at once more. That's Corexy's smoke just about to fade. Humans should see him in a second, and now it does, finally! Able to take him down as he instantly focuses up towards Teams.
Teams has that high ground, though. He's got that rock to work with. He is a solo player, and it looks like he's just going to try to get on out of dodge. GNL, meanwhile, they're getting pressured by Cerberus. A number of utility being sent right on top of them. The grenades getting 2 down, but the rest of the boys still dancing around. Hammer going to try to just escape at this point, realizing that the inevitable has arrived.
Yeah, sprinting into the blue, nothing for them to come for in this area of the map as they take 2 casualties, wave goodbye, and Young and Hammer are going to try and see if they can actually wrap around Cerberus and make their way inside this next circle.
Well, remember last fight we were watching James, he's managed to send it by himself in the middle of 3 teams that we saw at the top of that mountain. Young, meanwhile, has arrived, and he sees Sosed.
Smart not to take a shot there. Again, they've just gotten inside the circle. They know it's not the same team as before. You're down to low HP, no reason to try and engage. And as I said before, for FaZe, for Guangdong Freaks, regardless of who you are, making your way up the circle, it's just more teams waiting for you. Saw there, FaZe going down to 16th because of it.
Oh man, TSM has been trying to make their way in here, but they've been blocked by Gen G. Fortunately, Gen G is getting taken care of by Weiwu, and now they have to turn the fight over. Rex, the last one alive here. TSM have already lost Alo, but they've still got 3 up.
Yep, tricky position for them to try and get out of alive. Rex, solo player right now, trying to get back to his teammate, trying to maybe get him back on his feet, but Guangdong Freaks from behind says no. Babu taken down. Now it's just Rex up and alive. Nice play with the smoke, taking down Purdy. Smoked off the entrance, ran out of it on his own to try and make a play from outside. It's a great first takedown, but there's still 2 more players left to be found.
Beautiful work by Rex there. Luke 12 has made it to the smoke wall. They've got to use it because, as you saw, Guangdong Freaks and Navi both sending it down here. Picture in picture, you can see Howl. They're trying to make their way through the gauntlet as Rex trying to stay alive, keeping people...
What is going on
there
here?
we go.
And they both died to bean!
They both died a bean.
Natal up from the heavens, take out the double. The solos tried to stay put, neither will come up victorious as they're torn apart by Kwangdong Freaks.
Oh, mountain play. Mountain play, you gotta either love it or you hate it. And right there is both reasons why.
Yeah, pretty much.
You see what happens as Freaks continue. They have pretty much the entire south side of this circle to themselves. Hal, we said, tried to make it through that the E-Arena 17 Weibo Twisted Minds gauntlet, and unfortunately for them, it looks like Code Marco might be the only one left alive, and he's still outside his own.
And again, a lot of these fights are happening because we see E-Arena manage to maintain so much space. We saw it happen in their Miramar game in the final couple of games of the group stage as well. They're really, really good with these spots to just maintain their split formations and hold teams at bay. And effectively, by holding teams away from you, you're forcing them closer to one another. That's why we're seeing everyone scramble for positions to play from, because E-Arena is not allowing anyone next towards them.
They sure aren't. 17, they're using that high ground pretty effectively. They've managed to collect a couple of points for themselves. Find themselves in 9th place overall. Petrichor Road, it's all down to Summer, and it is all, might be all she wrote. He's getting a little bit too close to Sonics. Here's 10 HP, does get the heal off, stays alive for a little bit longer, and maybe that rock might be his salvation.
Yep, suboptimal for Summer to be in the position
it
he's
great.
currently in. Twisted Minds on one side, New Happy and Sonics on the other. Not a sandwich I would want to be in the middle of, that's for sure. As we now have Code Marco, yet another solo, trying to find somewhere to lay low of his own.
Okay, Sonics. There
And
you go.
he's dead.
Summer, yep. Spotted out by example. Sonics managed to get everybody back into the same compound that they have by pulling everybody here across the road. They left Cerberus there for the backfill. And Code Marco, remember, he was the last player alive for Howl. He manages to get the double before going down to Batulins. Now New Happy, you got a decision to make.
I mean, Twisted Minds see the double not coming through. Curious to see if they're going to actually commit to try and taking them down now, especially with them being on the outside of the circle here too. Could very well be kills in the making for them, but still at a bit too much of a distance to properly engage on it. And again, when you have a spot in the circle like this, when you have teams that are just behind you ready to pounce, there's just nothing to come for. And as you can see with the arrows being drawn on the map, that middle is open, and it's open for a reason. The hilltop is in, the compound still has players in it. Look at this hill, you cannot play anything around there. As much as the arrows indicate that you should be going towards the center, it's too dangerous right now with everyone still able to sit tight and just look down that direction.
Nothing but trees, man, and it's a little bit of a game of chicken here when you know that there's still 36 alive left in the lobby. Nobody wants to be the first to send it because you know that you will just have basically a big flashing light above your head saying kill me. Is 17 trying to make their way a little bit closer to that. I think they realize the situation that's ahead of them, and the best option here is to see if they can maybe take this fight with the Arena.
Arena, finally casualties gone their way, and luckily for them, it's a big player that falls down. Jacob taken out before the fight has even properly started. Now 17, crouching in on one side, Kwangdong Freaks on the other as well. Should you would imagine engage in this and leave E-Arena out of the mix, at least for the first couple of knocks.
Yeah, this is going to be a big, big fight here. E-Arena has the best position. It's Code Marco. Yeah, that was the replay. Does get the two, but unfortunately for them, both of those players get revived. So New Happy back up the full strength. 17 trying to go for a round, but they didn't expect the Freaks to be waiting and ready. Xiaowu has the blue encroaching and, gets the heal off just in time.
Able to stay put, but are you just extending your life for the same casual as the downfall? And yes, indeed, he will. He will be taken out with that molly. Heaven able to take him down. That's 9 kills now for Freaks, who have been continuously sweeping these southern edges, getting a lot of points rewarded off of them across all the players too. And most importantly, I think in this situation, have yet to take a single casualty.
Yeah, the Freaks have looked so good this game, and don't look now, man, but Navi is in a pretty good position. Sonics, meanwhile, trying to keep Cerberus on the other side of the road. Unfortunately, they're not able to. They've got some utility to send right on top of them. We'll see if they can get a little bit of vengeance for the times that Cerberus have taken them down as utility war continues. But unfortunately, you look at the New Happy starting to creep over there, but it looks like New Happy has Twisted Minds on their back, so that might be good news for Sonic.
Exactly, and I think that's why Sonics opted to flex out of the compound when they did, because they saw New Happy preoccupied with Twisted Minds over on the other side. They said, great, this is our window to make a move, but Sonics also wise in knowing when that window gets shut down. If they start engaging now, they're instantly going to get attacked from behind. They realize this, they back off, they smoke off Cerberus in hoping that they're going to take a fight to Navi instead, and now try and play more for defensive middle position.
Ooh, Shrimsy going to go down to Fairest, though, as you see Na'Vi has a little bit of an angle. See where the circle goes. Of course, it's going to go farther east. It doesn't really matter because everything's bad, but I guess the only good part about this for Weibo, for E-Arena, for Freaks, is they still have that high ground involved. They still have those rocks that they can work around, but Na'Vi in a perfect position here as Cerberus try to take the fight back to Sonics, and so far it's working out.
Yep, sure is. Tiggleton finds him as Spectacular gone down. Still have 2 more players left to deal with, though. More flashes being applied, but as you can see, no follow-up, no push immediately after those flashes get lopped on over, telling me that they're just trying to force them away. They don't want to have to take this fight to Cerberus. They want to move their way actually in the other direction. If they could third-party New Happy here, that would be perfect. But they cannot budge Cerberus. It seems like they're opting to stick around here, even now, with Na'Vi behind him.
Yeah, Cerberus has just been a thorn in the side of Sonics, really. They just haven't gone down. Fortunately, as you said, Na'Vi now has arrived. They're going to get Sololzi, then knock the flush. And now Sosed turning his attention towards Tycon. So Cerberus has to put the brakes on this push on Sonics once again. And that's going to allow them to get their knocked man back up. And they are back to full strength. There you go, kickstart. We'll find the angle. And Sonics is on their feet.
Finally they're dealt with. Now they can flex out. Now they can push forward over towards New Happy, hoping, of course, that Twisted Minds will help them from the other side. But in fact, Twisted Minds ain't about helping them at all as Example finds H-Win.
And
they got deny. Yes, they are. There's nothing to come for. You know, these are the 2 teams that you're fighting for a potential tournament win. You're going up against these 4 teams that we just saw in the north were highlighted as the 4 with the biggest chance. So it makes perfect sense to try and deny there.
4 deep, and New Happy will pull just a little bit closer in. The smoke wall will keep them alive. It looks like they're electing to take the fight over towards Na'Vi.
Yeah.
This might be the best terrain really available to them. Sonics, you know, for having that compound, unfortunately, as soon as it left, it was just nowhere to go. And now New Happy, we'll see what they decide to do. They're just deathballing right now.
Yeah, have to go together again. These Chinese teams, the meta has very much been a brute force mentality play style. Just sent 4 guys on top of one another into the fray. Of course, that does make them vulnerable to util. 1 well-placed nade, and that could be 2, potentially even 3 players gone down because of it. But for New Happy, it makes perfect sense to me that they say, Twisted Minds over there, you know what? Yes, let's go the other way.
You know, it really feels like these teams that are having so much success, given these kind of wild and crazy circles that we've been seeing, they push, they deathball, and then they like, okay, stop. Now we know what our range is. Now we know what our spot that we can protect is. As long as we're going to go down to a grenade from Diffix, Nan will try to return the favor. Grenade coming over the top doesn't look like it'll get the knocks. Diffix once again is on fire right now for Na'Vi, and now it's just down to December 12th and Ming Ming.
And Na'Vi is taking this fight in a 2v4 situation. Diffix is still on the southern side, holding out Quantum Freaks. Now Hagatori is up there helping them, kind of looking over their shoulder to make sure that no push is coming through from the other side, and this is what they were waiting for. They were trying to maintain a 2-2 split for the longest time, but now trying to make the sweep on forward again in a 3v2 situation with Twisted Minds grabbing in from the backside too.
Gotta make that push. There you go. Na'Vi will find their 6th kill of the day, and now they might be able to turn their attention over towards Twisted.
Yes.
Yeah, Twisted only committing 2 to the backside of this. This is kind of what they've been doing all day, is they don't get too aggressive, but they'll send 2 to see if they can maybe sneak a kill off of another fight, to third party another fight. But the second it's not there, they immediately pull back. So
like, Twisted Minds gets away with the scare there because they were spread a bit thin. Yes, you had 2 players up high in a position from where they could help down below, but they were in a 2v, very aggressive 3 with Diffix, Grossa in hand, kind of hunting them down. And had they committed to the push further forward and spotted them with their backs turned in the open, that could have been 2 quick picks for Na'Vi. But again, I mean, similarly to the Miramar game we just played before, Na'Vi is doing phenomenally when it comes to space control right now.
Yeah, they really are. It looks like they kind of figured out that Twisted Minds has pulled away, so they return back to 3 strong. And as you said, they have Fairest down on that south side, just making sure that nobody else comes and sneaks up behind them. The only thing that he may not know about is Weibo here. Shen and Cold just lying on their tummies, waiting for somebody to peek.
They have been chilling here for a while now. I should imagine that if E-Arena knew they were there, they would have taken them out already, because I think they do have ankles from somewhere up there. It's whenever you stood on the top of the highest cliff in an endgame situation like this, you can be pretty sure that the entire server is going to be shooting at you. So I don't think it's worthwhile for Assisi, for Lyrics to try and peek down towards Way, because they know they have Freaks and Twisted Minds right next door.
Yeah, Twisted Minds now making the full push. They're committing all 4. to going uphill down to the south.
Ooh,
Tigger has that hard cover, that movable cover to use.
4 nades.
Will get some support from his teammates. The grenades will fall. Oh, right on top. I mean, Twisted Mind's so good with their utility, and I think they realize what's happening. They have Sizzy, and they've got Lyrics right up top. Tigger just the man up front, waiting to see, basically preventing them from going any further than this ridge line.
I was going to say, if they can bait the attention for Tigger and he can peek on over, that might be a play to make, but that nade is right on his feet, and that's going to be Lou finding Tigger. In the meantime, Diffix once again makes the Groza sing, takes out the entirety of Wave, who has now the push, comes through from the other side, and Salute over the top, joined by his teammates, and Kwangdong Freaks helps take out E-Arena.
Freaks have been so quiet for so long, but then the second that they get the opportunity, they managed to strike and collect their 12th kill so far of this match. 4 strong, have the high ground, but Twisted Minds is right on the other side of that rock.
I mean, speaking of coming off to a good start, Na'Vi getting out in the end game last game, Kwangdong Freaks winning match number 1, Twisted Minds winning number 2, and now these 3 teams are in the end game once more.
Na'Vi has absolutely shot up the leaderboard with this performance. Now let's see if they can cap it off. 2 more teams to take care of. They've got complete control of the low ground. And now Bean's going to find the opening knock on a Perfectix.
18 smokes still.
They're going to need every single one of them, too.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, look at, while this has been going on, look at how much space Na'Vi continues to take. They're going to go, well, if you're not going to claim it, we might as well take it for ourselves. Very, very wise in their playstyles right here. Nate's right now doing all the damage they need. Example found as well. Perfectix already down. Twisted Minds down to 2.
They're in some trouble right now. Batulins will try to stop things, slow things down just enough to maybe get these revives off, but the blue is encroaching. Kwangdong Freaks, they are sticking around. Na'Vi is just waiting.
Luke wants up close. He knows there's kills waiting on the other side. Spots Perfectix. That's the first one gone down. Batulins now in the blue. It's going to go down. He was flashed. He was forced into the blue, and he will fall because of it. Twisted Minds out, but not before they find 2. This is Na'Vi's chance to pounce. Twisted Minds did everything they could just there to give Na'Vi this win.
And you could see the collapse coming in as they immediately send it. Salute will lose the 1v1 to Sosed, and now the grenades from Ferris, the shots from Diffix. Ferris trying to come up and spot out Heaven on the backside. The smoke wall keeping them alive, but it's not going to be enough. And Na'Vi get a huge win in game number 3.
Hagatory Pickers, rejoice as you claim yourself extra fantasy points off of that one, and all the way through. What a game from Na'Vi. From the bridge camp against Cerberus in the early game till their flank plays up on the western side. These guys are young, they're globally inexperienced, but they dare. They take so much space throughout this entire game and claim a win because of it.
I think things set up perfectly for how they've been wanting to play here so far these first 3 games. Very, very quiet for the early game, quiet through most of the mid game, but once that opportunity arises in the late game, they will strike, and they manage to collect a big victory and shoot themselves up the leaderboard.
Smiles across the faces of the young guns out of Ukraine as we take our way to the highlights of this match and into Takeover right after this.
Keşke baksaydım. Oğlum Salih beni bura iyi. er vondt nu, men då kan jeg så videre.
Na'Vi finding space and finding plenty of kills for them to round things up and get themselves the victory here when it was time to take-o. We've got Avenger here to break down everything that is going on in this game, and Na'Vi looking cool.
It was, but also it was an extremely hard circle, right? The amount of water that we had in circle 2 and 3, the amount of pressure that was from the very top, and of course, because of the terrain and how everything kind of elevates and works out, it can accommodate an extreme amount of teams. And then when it kind of shifts off and doesn't end exactly there, there's going to be so many fights. And eventually, we actually had the last biggest fight up there as well, kind of in the rocks and everything. So yeah, overall, fantastic game. I like what we saw from, of course, both Twisted Minds and the Freaks. But Na'Vi is able to take it home, and Diffix is able to make a difference here and get 5 kills and 800 damage. That it was impractical and it was kind of impossible for them to not win that. With everyone how Twisted Mind lost so many players, Freaks lost so many players. Yeah, overall, very easy fight to win in the end, but they controlled so much of the western side for so long and poked at everyone. They poked Cerberus away, they poked everyone and took their space. Yeah. And here with this, of course, 14 kills as well for Freaks, 21 points for Na'Vi still, and 22 teams above 20. Quite impressive here, very top heavy.
Yeah, just to talk about, I think, the penultimate circle for a moment, I think that something that was great by Na'Vi is they had a 3-1 split going on.
Right.
Ferris was down towards the south, almost kind of
anchoring,
just corralling the idea of those teams not to come down from what was the high ground in the south. And the other 3, you dismantle Weibo, and then from there you control the middle of the circle, right? That gives them so much control, and all the other teams have to walk into one another, finding themselves now in 3rd place on the leaderboard.
Yeah, very impressive here. Also for Freaks here, for this consistency already, 43 points, 49 for Twist. We're talking about a 50-point average, James, to win the whole thing. If you're able to do that every day. And now here, after just half the games today, they are just 1 point shy of that. It's very, very impressive here. Super interesting to see. Yeah, and as you say here, Ferris' only job here is just going around with the gong, like ding, ding,
we're
ding.
Here, we're here,
yeah,
we're
here.
here.
There's somebody shooting shooting both guns, making sure, basically sheep herding, and poking the teams away, making sure that they couldn't kind of backfill into that area that Na'Vi was holding on to. And they were holding on to that for a very long time on the western side. So perfect control, played control here. Very clinical play from them, and of course, the perfect third-party timing. They didn't want to get greedy. They could have gotten in earlier and tried to get more kills, but that would probably have meant that Kwangdong Freaks would have turned around and maybe taken on Na'Vi. So it was the secure win here and the good amount of points that secured them a good spot here in the top 3 now.
That's the team that I wanted to talk about. Kwangdong Freaks, the one that was closest to Hakatora, that he was kind of repelling almost with, you know, not too much aggression himself. But the fact that they have also kind of set themselves apart alongside Twisted Minds in this lobby, because Kwangdong Freaks, they also have themselves double-digit kills in this game and are finding themselves right up there with Twisted Minds. So as much as, Twisted Minds, 49 points, I think Kwangdong Freaks right now is on 43 points after having mega consistency themselves. And after I quite honestly, I'm going to say it like I've said it in prior days, I had question marks around the South Korean region. How are they going to fare? Kwangdong Freaks is looking pretty good. Yeah,
it's mainly also because you're taking apart your PGC winning team and you're making
dividing everything.
Yeah, dividing all the good players amongst more teams here. But yeah, Kwangdong Freaks is looking like the team that's taking over. Danavas used to be kind of top 4 spots here at PGS.
All right, let's get to it. It's the Tundra. We are going to Vikendi here as we have game number 4 of day 1 in the grand final. Brr.
Thank you very much, boys. And you saw the cool blue lighting over the stage, which can only mean that we are heading to the snowy fields of Vikendi. And it has been an interesting day so far, Toby. These guys have definitely come out swinging and ready to play. Now it's time to get the back half going. Look at that. That's you.
Oh, look, it's me?
Yeah. It's just like
that threw me off. I didn't. What about that snowman makes me? Other than the fact that he's super cool.
And you know what? You guys are cool too. And you know what makes you even cooler? If you start spamming those dancing dinosaurs in the chat. Because as we can see on our map, TSM do like to go towards the west to Dino Land, which off of this plane path might not be where the game will end. But I do feel like the more dancing dinos we see in the chat, the bigger the odds that the game will end there.
All I can do is concur.
Yeah, that's just how it works.
I am a Dino Land enjoyer myself, as should be pretty obvious to literally anyone. But yeah, I mean to the point where I expect a statue of myself,
a Porosaurus
statue in Dino Land.
Fair.
I'm starting it now. I want the
someday.
No, I don't think anybody's backing me up on that, man. I'd
you
hope,
know what I mean?
But
dreams are there to be broken. I don't know. Let's continue over this one. We're not seeing any hot drops now, as it should be, my friends. But with this flame path, I'm a little worried that we are getting one of these crazy southern ones again that we saw a couple of days ago. That was Himas, that was Tycon, and the Cerberus boys popping off greatly. And speaking of them, well, they get themselves yet another circle going their way, as our dearly beloved observers are showing us. The rotations can be found on the edges, and I think the majority of them will go from there. I think, too, though, there's going to be quite a bunch of teams going in from around where 17 are currently located. Coming in north of the Comesto, there's a lot of area to take control of around the castle, around where Himas is currently sat, that you can really make great use of, especially here in the early game, where you can, along the lines of what E-Arena did in the previous game, try and keep other teams at a distance.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how this one plays out. We'll make sure you scan now to watch the PGS 3 in that multi-view. Remember, we do have team streams with team comms as well as our map. So I know everybody loves to see that.
That's the next thing. We get insights with the teams during the game where we can listen to what they're currently talking about.
There is not a single player on Earth that would want to hear you coming into their comms in the middle of
No, we don't join their comms.
Okay,
We're going,
hello,
boys, how are you doing?
Sure.
We just casually, like a fly on the wall, listen in. What do you think Batulins is talking about right now?
Oh, man, what is he talking about?
You see, we would know. We might know in the future. We'll see as 17 Gaming get their loot game going. A team who, for the longest time, have been up there. I mean, not only did they win PGS 1, but a team who, for the longest time, has been respected as one of the best in the world. At a point, the best in the world. Seemingly unstoppable, but as of late, unable to really pull back to that same level of play. I know there's been some roster changes. I know a lot of people questioned them initially, but I will say that even with Show, it's not like Show is not able to pull his weight. In terms of individual capabilities, he's been phenomenal. I just think what little Show brings, or brought, I should say, to the roster, helps them a hell of a lot when it comes to their early game rotations, which has hindered them. But now, let's listen to Tycon.
Đến vòng chung kết thì em nghĩ Tuyết Tịch Mai là đối thủ mạnh nhất, tại vì họ đang là team top 1 của vòng loại. Team tụi em đã đồng hành cùng nhau 5 năm rồi, nên là chuyện bọn em bắn tốt như vậy là điều hiển nhiên thôi. Tại vì Hải Taki và Sology rất hiểu ý hai tụi em. Bọn em là một team mà, nên là đối với tụi em thì những cái vòng bo hay là những cái gì bọn em đều có thể làm được. Dù khó đến mức nào em cũng phải chiến đấu hết mình.
There you go. Big killer right there. As we check in with Valley Thai. See how they are doing over around Observatory. Now, they are very far off to the north. Let's hope that they can find... well, I mean, do you even mess with an E-pickup in this kind of circle, or do you just kind of try to come in?
If you're far up towards the northwest, there might be a world where that's your best option. I will just say, though, off of that interview, I love the fact that Tycon just shouted out both Sololsi and Haisaki, because, my friends out there, you might be a great player, but you're not always the fragger of your team. Sometimes there are other fraggers on your team, and for Cerberus, that's Tycon, that's Himas. But there ain't no fragger that's out there being successful if they don't have phenomenal support players. Players that don't go out there to try and claim the spotlight, players that just want to see the team succeed. So the fact that he brings both of them up is a great one, and I think we should all just... Throw a thumbs up in the chat for all the support players out there who might not be the ones we mention with all the crazy highlights, but who are the ones who enables set fraggers to go out and do what they do best.
I like to think of myself as an enabler.
Yeah,
honestly.
I can see that. You enabled me to cast. I mean,
I enable you to do whatever it is that you do.
I just yell.
You know? Yeah,
yeah, that's. I just get excited and jump around like a crazy person.
Yeah, that's all. Hey,
yeah.
You know what? And look how much it adds. As we take...
He said with a suspicious tone.
No, look, hey man, you know, I love how excited you get. It always makes me happy. See some bears just kind of hanging around.
Get away.
Just rolling on through.
Get away.
Like a drive-through safari.
Yeah, exactly.
Let them live their life. We'll see if they chase them here as they.
That'd be the next thing. You can pull you out of vehicles if you're parked for long enough. Speaking thereof, Fexy doesn't seemingly like the bears around him. He's gonna take one out, and looking towards the circle as James finds one as well. Is this 2-1-1 split from Cerberus that we're currently seeing? Again, everyone have your map stream open. You should be, if you aren't already, have the map open so that you can see this Cerberus split with Tycon sat in the castle on his own right now. I'm a little worried on his behalf. They just had Weibu pretty much just full speed send it through them. And in a 3-1-1 split like they're currently like the way they're currently positioned, if a team gets right in the middle of you, it's gonna be very hard to try and regroup or group up all together. So a little worried here for Cerberus that they might get in trouble now that Haisaki has also been seen by New Happy.
Yeah, I mean, this is
because this is prime real estate,
though, right? Yeah, I mean, a lot of what they're taking up is prime real estate.
Exactly.
But, you know, they're not afraid. This is the thing we've been talking about. This team is just not afraid of anybody, really. And even when they're by themselves, soloing, peacocking just a little bit, they are not afraid to take the shots.
Yeah.
And see what they can do here as we see December 12th getting a little bit close to the hot spring. Get your skin right, my friend.
Yeah.
Get you feeling good.
Nice. We should have
Get
small
your pores opened.
What do you call like the small monkeys that always chill in like the Japanese hot springs? You should have them running around. You can't shoot them, but they'll steal your loot. Like they'll take bullets.
Well, then they're getting shot.
I mean, no, you can't. They're too. You can't do that.
That's just thievery.
You can't be doing that. Can't be doing that to the pure old monkeys. In the meantime, now let's take a look at Fairest. He's eyeing the sky as Ming Ming finds Mamu. That's elsewhere on the map. Shouldn't really be any big follow-ups on that knock. Just a little info knock. Okay, you might have broken my skull, but at least now I know where you are.
Yeah, I was trying to see how far away it was. It's not that.
A bit of distance to it. Like solid 300 meters.
Yeah, it's decent.
Uh-oh.
It's decent.
Marco, you are very close to that bear.
He sure is.
Just casually turns his back on a bear. That's
it's
like me turning my back on you, Poro.
That's trusting your teammate.
Yeah. I mean,
I'd let that bear. That bear would be eating you.
I would have been. I would have fallen a long time. I would have been fallen a long time ago before that. In the meantime, now as we take a look to Fairest again, the fact that he's jumping out over the sea might not be too interesting. But again, as we talked about in the previous match, look at how much map control Na'Vi currently has. This bear is stuck in the tree or something. I'm not sure, but it is chilling.
He sits like my dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
He was chasing. He ran into a tree. He's like,
the
I don't
only
know.
bear left on
the dumbest bear on earth. He ran into the tree and couldn't walk any further. He just like sits down and got mad about it and just went back.
I'd be a little dazed if I sprinted headfirst into a tree as well. Not gonna lie. But now let's see how. Team who also yet have... I mean, they got 13 points over the previous 3 games. Of course, not the start you want to get off to, especially with some of the positions Howl have had here in the... I mean, you saw Twisted Minds win a game off of a position they literally took away from Howl in the previous match. So Howl, a team that would want to come out victorious, and a team who, like many other, at least right now, have opted to go dead center. A lot of teams here on the very eastern coast hoping that this circle continues going the way, because if it doesn't, if we go back towards Castle, if we go far up towards the north, for all of these teams that are now sat center to try and untangle that nut they have already set themselves in, that's going to come with a lot of casualties, I think.
Oh, for sure. Howl, as you said, 9th place, and I'm just kind of looking at the leaderboard. Obviously, there's a little bit of a log jam there, right around 13, 14 points. But you know, you look up towards Twisted, you look towards Freaks, and you start wondering, is this going to be one of those situations where the point sponging starts early?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it, definitely.
I mean, honestly, like, Twisted has definitely looked fantastic through every game. Freaks have had 2 fantastic games. One, you know, that was decent. But, you know, if these 2 start taking off with the thing in the first day,
that's definitely dangerous if you're any of the other teams on the server. Yep, definitely is. And for a team like Freaks, too, I mean, we saw them in Korea, massive in-game potential, and a team that very much thrives off of momentum. There are other teams that will get pop-off games pretty much out of nowhere, but I feel like for Freaks in particular, if they have a bad day, it becomes a really bad day. If they have a good day, there is no limit to where they can go off. But now let's see where this circle is going to take us as we swing towards the castle. And now look at all these teams out on the edges that are going to have to try and make their way on in. But Kranich on the southern side, Trika on the northern, makes it very hard for teams to try and wrap around and make their way into what is this next circle.
Well, man, you start wondering, okay, Cerberus are immediately collapsing back onto Tycon. That's That's a big castle to try to defend as a 4-man, but we'll see if they can get it done, or how they decide to defend it, rather. As we see example in the rest of the Twisted Minds gang. Ming Ming, oh, you've already gotten one knock with that. Oh, can he get another? No.
Almost had him. Not going to happen. Long scope takes a few parting shots as well. As New Happy, of course, currently in a better position than Twisted Minds. Twisted Minds forced down towards the south, and that's just great news for New Happy, because they're forcing them again into opponents, setting up potential third-party opportunities for themselves. It's now Sonics as well, looking for a potential engage here. Gen G also close to Petrichor. A lot of these teams trying to make their way outside of the previous circle, wrapping around, and now, I mean, effectively 3 teams on top of each other.
This south side is about to be absolutely disgusting. You got Gen
Yep.
G, Petrichor, Twisted Minds, GNL, and TSM. 5 teams all fighting around the same compound right on the edge of circle. And Twisted Minds, they won all of it. Example immediately gets taken down by Adder, but Toolins gets knocked very low. So Example will get flushed out as well, it looks like here, as Gen G, they're playing the walls, they're playing the edges. And look, we still have 3-4 other teams that are around that are hearing this all go down.
This is very unlike Twisted Minds to take a fight like this. I don't think they knew what they were in for when they pulled up on this combo. Maybe they thought it was a split position with a solo set down here, but not only is there a team, as you say, multiple teams around ready for third-party opportunities as well.
And they are just destroying each other. Adder and Barpo both down as well. Lou about to go down to the Molotov from Rex, and TSM just hanging out on the edges, shooting through the smokes. If anything reveals itself on the side of the smoke, they will take the shot. Sparking gonna get knocked low, but knocked out.
This all goes back to what we said before. Very hard to wrap around this circle when you can't go east because you're on the coastline. Everyone is trying to take the same few routes out of the eastern side of the previous circle, causing all the commotion we're seeing here. Batulins finds Rex early on, goes for the flash as well. Summer finds a double on the other side of the fighters. No, Batulins misses a single shot on the target. Tosi able to take him down because of it.
Point secured. Tosi the last one up here for Gen G. Meanwhile, in the kill feed, you can see GNL and Petrichor Road. They're about a block away from this. Gen G will go down eventually to Sparking's Molotov as Alo will get spotted by Perfectix. Now Sparking trying to finish the man off. He will, barely though.
Last bullet in the chamber seals the deal. Twisted Minds in first place overall, but the second team to fall here is now the fight between GNL and Petrichor continues. Roy over the top, peeks on forward, but will be taken down by Ming, who, if time is right, should be able to get his teammates back on their feet.
Absolute madness here in the early game on Vikendi. The south side has just been just devastating for a number of teams here, as FaZe is now starting to wrap around on the south side. TSM has gotten everybody back up to full strength. They're doing a little bit of looting. FaZe creeping down here, just spotting things out, seeing what they can see.
I mean, they heard all that in the kill feed, and they know they have no clue where those people are, but they're going to be close by. Circle shifting west once more. Continue that rotation, Petrichor. You were doing something smart before. Unfortunately, a lot of teams joined. You look towards the northeast now. How many teams are trying to come in from here? I would imagine FaZe not going all the way straight north. They're going to try and wrap west and cut off Petrichor, because they know how many teams are coming in from the other side.
And as you see on that circle, the whole western side of this circle of the zone is completely open here, as Hal trying to do a little drive-by action on a Weibo, and it's working out a charm as the Mad and Code Marco with 1 HP left. They will creep on through. They'll just keep on going as they got what they needed. They're just the priority, really, just trying to find some spot here. But Cerberus, kings of the castle, and they are defending it well. Rorn down to 1 shot, will stay alive.
Can't find him, but now they're starting to take casualties. Two Sololsi found up high. They have to commit to the rest, and by them backing off, that allows even more people up on the walls.
Okay, Hal, this is about as good as you can hope for, really, on a send like that. The arena has also arrived in the castle, so the Kings are getting supplanted here. As Tycon will try to send a grenade back down. Trigger and Lyrics going down to high mass, as he is not giving up his kingdom willingly.
Not at all. Still one more left to find, but found reloading.
The
has to cancel. Yep. Prones down, cancels the reload. 14 bullets is what he's got to work with. A FAMAS arm combo, and he's going to find the target. Jacob annihilated.
Oh my god, the crown is well deserved. He's going to find Zizzy. Gets just behind the wall in just the right amount of time. Hisaki still down, and Cerberus, they will deal with him when ready. They are eaten.
I think for now it's the time to try and reset, try and figure out exactly how many teams are nearby. They have forced the opposing team off, at least for now, but more waves of teams will be making their way here. I said maybe go for Haisagi, but he is found by Alonska. And all these teams now that were trying to maneuver their way into the circle from the far eastern side have started to get within shooting range.
It is so hard in this lobby to get out of a full 4v4 fight cleanly. It is just, it feels like it's almost impossible. You're taking 2 losses, maybe at least 1 every single time. And Purdy Curdy has FaZe right dead in his sights, but he's got no support for, actually Luke 12 is off to the south. He doesn't want to take this shot because the second he does, you just know you're going to reveal yourself to anybody near.
Yep, Sonic's forced to try and crash into the northern side of the castle too. As this circle's going to continue to close in. Purdy with the bunny ears off the Valtai logo creeps his way further forward. That's 3 right in front of him. It's on their feet. And Purdy tears the FaZe clan apart.
And Kurt going to let him know too. Luke 12 has been taken down and now Ruin has spotted him out. But man, mission accomplished there if you're Purdy Curdy. 7 kills for TSM as he is the last player left alive.
Castle is where we are headed off of that shift. For TSM, plenty more space just garnered with that takeout. You can see Purdy still a journey left to make as he's going to have to, I think for now, maybe lay low for a little bit. You can see Howl still with eyes on him, knowing exactly where he is. He's getting into a vehicle, but are you crashing Castle as a solo at this point? I'm not sure.
I don't know. You can see all these teams on the north. You looked at Freaks and Valley Tie. All of them were kind of hoping and wishing that this thing would cut north and favor them a little bit. But now they're in a tough spot, especially Freaks. This is they saw Twisted Minds go down very quickly in this lobby, and that was looking like an opportunity to really come up and catch up to them. Now Freaks will turn their attention towards 17. And oh, yeah, Salute, you're by yourself, my dude.
Nice disengage there. Fortunate to be able to stay alive off of seeing 3 players on the other side. But as little as he expected them to see him, or as little were they expecting the other way around too. So good thing. Both of them kind of caught by surprise seeing one another. And neither team's taking casualties because of it.
Well, despite the fact that they're not taking casualties, it's slowing them down.
Yeah.
And they've got to find somewhere to play. Nobody wants to be the first one to send it in because, we see so many times, if you're the first one to go, that means that you're usually the first one to get taken down by those who follow. Look at Owl.
4 guys in a car, and that's what's going to happen to you. And here we see again Purdy with the nade literally on the feet of
Did you see every single head look down all at the same time? And they're like, oh no. S. We're done.
Yeah,
okay.
Unlucky. Again, I mean, credit to Valentine for being able to maintain as much space as they have. Again, splitting out on the edge, very similar to their Miramar game 2 matches ago. Able to maintain full control, forcing all the teams down on the western side because now 17, Guangdong Freaks and Pretrico, all 3 had a chance to try and grab east and take a fight there, are forced to kind of funnel towards one another.
Oh yeah, Ming's going to spot out Show, and the vehicles are very low, and actually that might save them here a little bit because they were about to run right into Na'Vi. Now Na'Vi, only 3 there. They've left Ferris down towards the south. Once again, Ferris just by himself. Just protecting the backside. The grenade is going to find Xiao Wu. So said he's got the AK waiting and ready. Xiaobei very low. Yep, he's going to get finished off there. Suju, last one up here for 17. Staying alive just by the kindness of the smoke. Is that the... He's still got the glider.
Again, I mean, phenomenal performance from Na'Vi to maintain edge control, to force teams off, and letting them know that if you come nearby, which you're welcome to, you're going to be points for us. So Na'Vi able to now back off as Ferris tries to dodge and weave mid-air, get himself safely, if not back on the ground, then at least towards it. New circle. Pups, is it going to be a castle finish, or are we going elsewhere? Castle it is.
Let's go. Okay. It's time to play Who's the Real King here. As you see there, hey, actually worth noting that here's a little bit of a care package drop on the south side of that zone. Now, Cerberus and Howl, I mean, that's kind of instant death if you go for it right now, right? But
if New Happy makes it to underneath that bridge and just sits down there, that'd be an impressive fit. I mean, and it's not the worst place to be. We've seen it in the EMEA before. I believe it was Foot who got themselves out on the bridge and was like, wait, you can actually play here? We heard in the in-games comms too, that bridge is actually far more playable than you'd initially expect. So maybe there's plays to be made as Purdy, the solo from TSM, tries to stay put. Him as though, yeah, Blue Zone nade in hand. He might not belong for this world much longer.
And KDF trying to send it across. They had the smoke wall laid down, but unfortunately just too many gaps in there. Tickleton was a big damage. Oh, the last shot, one shot away, and Heaven gets through. So Freaks managed to get 3 inside at least, and now Bean going to go down to Kiss.
Valentine committing to this split for as long as they have with Meklos and Kiss on one side. You have UNQ down in the south, and then you have the last teammate far on the southern side. I'm a little worried that they're trying to maintain it for too long, but they do have complete northeastern control, so we'll see if they've set up highways to try and regroup.
Suju the last one out. Navi knows he's there, though, and they were waiting for him. He never did peek, as he'll just try to keep healing up, and
You got it.
yeah, you got it.
Just exactly. They know exactly when to start popping these first states. It's very rare that you see people make healing mistakes like that. In the meantime now, Na'Vi forced out into the open, out onto the ice, trying to grant themselves some cover. We saw Howl players with nades in hand, and they're well within reach.
Okay. Not a great spot for Na'Vi, but you know what? They're 4 up.
Oh, yeah.
And this is better than nothing, really. Is honestly, not many of these other teams are going to be hard peeking this or really aggressing towards them. Ferris has been left behind to try to take care of Suju, and now he sees him in the kill feed. He knows he's done. Yep. And the car has been left.
Well, with Na'Vi having made their way towards the ice, the last team to join that party is New Happy. They will make their way towards Set Bridge we saw just before, but if they're playing underneath it, I'm a little worried for them. We'll see how they opt to go, as they should potentially be able to stay out of the bridge and still be inside the circle. It's going to be just barely, with a couple of windows they're going to need to be very cautious of moving their way on in.
Yeah, Na'Vi showing a lot of patience and showing a lot of progress, really, from a roster that hadn't really seen a lot of international competition. I feel like they've grown leaps and bounds just in the 3 days that we've seen so far. I say that as Hakatori gets knocked by Rorn.
As it should be.
Should be a fairly easy res, though, here, as you see. They've got a little bit of cover to work with. New Happy, meanwhile, slowly but surely making their way to that bridge.
New Happy just got to try and see if they can wait this one out, because it might be hard to conquer a castle, but not that hard if the castle is fighting amongst one another. Try and see how long you can stay put. This circle is going to take it towards the east. Maybe now, underneath the bridge would be the better place to go, and not all the way up towards the wall. I think they're going to stay on the eastern side. If they take the fight to Valtai here and claim the entire eastern kind of coastline on this castle, not only are they going to get 250 crates, but they're also going to be well rewarded for the position they have, while everyone else is going to have to fight their way through the middle of it.
Yeah, worth noting. I mean, I don't think they'll progress all the way, as you said, all the way up to that castle
that's
wall.
Way too early. Way too early.
Just that cliffside would be enough here. But the problem for Na'Vi now is, where do you go? You've got Howl that's been kind of picking down at you. Diffix is feeding that information over to the rest of the boys. But Howl, they've got to move, but they don't have to move yet. And that's the biggest problem for Na'Vi here.
Another issue for Howl apparently is they've been shooting so much they're running out of bullets. Oof. 10 left for Ruin, nothing left to spare. Marco, though, finds the double, able to shut down Na'Vi on approach.
Oh, and both of those kills get stolen away. You hate to see that for Howl, as they were ready and waiting. Grenade not going to find Diffix.
Purdy is still up as well, but he's just been seen by New Happy, which is actually crucial info for them. And there's a solo sat in the shack looking the other direction, meaning that he's clearly not a teammate of the guys currently fighting on the western side. Yeah,
still vehicles here for Na'Vi, so they might still have a little bit of a shot. I don't know. New Happy, as you said, they got them pretty much dead to rights, and Howl, they've just got all eyes looking over here right now is. Get them low, and they'll get them out there and see if they can actually get credit for this kill. Yeah, they sure will. And now the Howl boys know that Diffix is the only one.
I mean, not only do Howl need these kills, they also need all the loot they can get off of them. Diffix solo play left alive. Nice push there from Howl, splitting one person further out on the right, like swinging wide. The other guy's playing up close, and now much needed loot pickup here from the whole team as they try and share these bullets between them.
Very, very well played by Howl. They knew that they were in a pretty tough spot early on. They had to send it and survive, and that's exactly what they did. Purdy Curdy just trying to survive as well. Ruin just going to spray through the smoke, not realizing that Kurt has not left.
I like the idea, though. We see it time and time again where a smoke will be deployed and you're trying to sneak out because of it. This time, not quite the case. Himas, in the meantime, Famas and Panzerfaust in hand, trying to deny the push here from Howl.
I think I didn't notice that Panzerfaust in his pocket as we wait and see what Himas has up his sleeve for the last part of this game. Now Howl still trying to commit to taking care of Purdy Curdy. That blue zone grenade might be Now he's got the heal, so he's going to get through that as well. And he's just the thorn in the side here for Hal. Don't give up a player just by trying to get rid of this last guy.
Yep, that's a massive thorn as well. Matt can't really wrap around the northern side, still outside the circle. Oh, as I say that actually just exactly, and now comes the push on through. Great timing with the flash as well for him to take down Purdy. The issue is he falls to long score. Perfect off angle on the bridge as the circle swings off the castle itself out towards the northeast.
Tried so hard to get rid of the man, and they lose 2 for it. Code Marco, the last player alive here for Howl, and see he'll drop the smokes down, but New Happy just staring right over in that direction. Long Skur, oh, big damage done there. He's going to spot Roaring. One more bullet might do it through the smoke.
That last one was on point.
So close,
but again, 27 bullets for Long Skur as well. A lot of these teams that are making their way on in have really not had a whole lot of opportunities to loot from the opponents they've taken out. And now, for Valitai, they've been very cautious, very careful in trying not over-engaging towards New Happy, but I feel like they should be grouping up inside the circle now. I feel like having 2 players still out in the back is too dangerous as we now take our eyes towards the castle itself.
Just playing the walls here as Hymas throws a few grenades on out just to...
If you're Petrichor, you rep all the way around here.
Yeah, you got to, right? I mean, it's the best option.
I mean, they don't know. They have no clue what's on the other side. But again, I mean, there's no reason to find out here if you can creep your way further forward still. In the meantime, Kwangdong Freaks, team we should mention, as they're currently set in second place, have managed to weather the storm on the northern side too. And as I say that, of course, Salute does get knocked, but the rest should be possible.
Oh my gosh, so many Panzerfaust out in hands here for Sonics. They're waiting for anybody to peek them. Oh, Summer's going to go down. Yeah, Chewy barely gets in.
Able to sneak in. Not sure if Shen hurt him. He might have been close enough for the footsteps to be audible on the other side. Chewy, though, at least gets the first aid off. Able to stay put. Still got some util and meds to work with. And more importantly, getting ever so much closer to the circle, which is still moving in.
Yep, Shen just holding his line right now. As Valitai, they managed to get the 2 that were at the rock in the middle of the river.
Yeah.
They get them over to the coastline. So Valitai's still very much in this as we see Sonic's going to spot out Tycon. They'll spot out him as well. They clean up Cerberus. So Sonic's owners of the castle now.
Yeah, taking out Chewy as well, trying to limit what they're going to have to fight from behind them as they make their way into this final circle. They do not, though, know about Shen having just eliminated 2 teams in 2 seconds. You'd imagine that's all they're going to have to deal with. But H-Win, wise as he is well aware that there could be more, and he finds Shen as well.
Huge game for Sonics now as they've managed to collect 8 kills. They've got 4 alive, and they've got, well, what's left of the castle that's still inside to work with. It's going to be real hard, though, with that road. There's a lot of ridgeline. You can see, that's what they've got to work with. They've got to come down, but they've got Kwangdong Freaks, they got New Happy, all have vision onto this. It's going to be difficult work here for Sonics to make their way out.
This is going to be on Bean. Bean on the northern side of this 2-player Kwangdong Freaks roster has to be aware, or has to see the Sonics players make their way on out. Because look at this, if he can prevent them from crossing down towards heaven, whether it be with util, whether it be with just shooting towards him, if he can force them to take the fight to the south, that's potentially Kwangdong Freaks opening an opportunity to make their way into the circle. Heaven now, though, creeping around, will go up here, peek on forward, taking down Shrimsy early on. And one more!
Oh my goodness, Heaven, immediate double knock as Tiggleton, he's trying to provide some overwatch for the rest of the boys, but just does not have an angle onto any of this. So H1 will go, or Kickstart rather, go for the res onto H1. Meanwhile, while all this is going on, Tiggleton does spot out Bean. Will force Bean back, but now New Happy taking the fight right to Valitai.
Yep, Long Skur. Oh, what a headshot. Connected instantly to follow with Nance. Nate's going to take down 2. Now it's just Latai left alive, down to 1 HP. Will get the first hit off, but Long Skur knows there's only so many chances to make an aggressive play, and this is now.
I think Valitai trying to play it a little too cautious there, and New Happy, they just slammed their foot to the gas. And it is paid off. They have that ridgeline. They've got 1 player in their midst hiding in that hard cover. Bean will flush out Shrimsy, but the res does come through on a H1. So now Sonic's back to 3 strong. They've got a wall, but it's not great.
And this is where the castle walls become your downfall every now and again. If you're staying there for too long, you could be in trouble. And right now, all of Sonic's forced to pro down and heal on out as they wait for the next circle to pop. They do still have 1 smoke to work with. There are some right now, so if you don't use those, well, One smoke is all you're relying on.
I mean, how much utility does New Happy have left? But Kickstart, that's a huge start by spotting out Ming Ming. He was the high guy, the one that was keeping an eye on everything. Kickstart still taking those shots through the smoke. They're not finding the knocks, though. No damage coming through on to Heaven as they are slowly trying to make their way through. How much does Sonics have any utility to work with here?
They're sprinting straight into Woods, and they still have a couple of things left to work with, and in the end they will fall down. Heaven taken by one, Bean taken by another. They will go down and out as we make our way into the final 3 teams.
Oh, the P90, December 12th tried to do work with it. Had to pull back, though, as he got a little bit damaged. New Happy does get that res, so they're back up to full strength. Sonics just playing around in the smokes. Kickstart will find Non. Ming Ming will find H-Win. It's all down to Kick, and it's done.
Down they go, but I was going to say through all of it, Sissy is still alive. He's going to be able to find the first one, but now in a very tough 1 versus 2.
The arena, no, New Happy will get the victory, and that is huge for NH Esports.
Massive performance in this game. They played it slow. They came in on the southern side. They used the bridge for cover and claimed a victory off of some very good late game rotations.
Again, patience, patience, playing the biggest role here. You saw them, they did not overstep their bounds. They didn't take more than what was in front of them, and they ends up paying off huge for them. You got to give credit to Sonics as well. Keeping 4 up to the late game. They got a lot of kills up there. They managed to climb up the leaderboard. So after 4 games, looking pretty strong.
The best teams are the ones that can play in multiple gears. New Happy very fast early on to claim a center position, but off the circle swings up to play slow and come out victorious in what was an amazing win here on Vicinity.
One day, baby. So.
A tussle in the castle results in Sonics eventually getting out of there but not being able to conquer. New Happy waiting and ready to go. They get themselves the victory here after just holding out over in that kind of frozen lake area very strongly against what was a lot of teams like Valley Tide was north of them trying to kind of hold out those positions, but New Happy played it patiently.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about these castle endings is that everyone can kind of accommodate themselves around and kind of play uphill, right? If you're the last team to come in for an angle, then you can play it very, very late. I was hoping for a perfect castle ending for a kind of a king of the castle fight. That would have been cool. And Sonics was looking very strong in there with 4-man strong, and they actually wiped out Cerberus quite nicely. And as we were talking about during the game, right, they actually got out of there. They managed to get out of there. Quangman Freach, they helped them, but they were only 2 lives, and then they actually managed to open it up like a can opener. So very, very impressive here for Sonics to come out and get that many kills when they didn't have the ending inside the castle.
Gotta agree. I mean, I expected Quantum Freaks to be completely dismantling them, but that was not to be. Utilizing mollies, etc., and just patiently biding their time with Sonics to be able to make that breakout happen. But New Happy really was the tale of the story. Longsker with 8 after 627 damage. So he's really being very efficient about how he's taking his fights, when to be able to shoot for all of this. So gotta say, New Happy once again on this stage, looking brilliant.
He's been very impressive here. Fantastic.
Oi, Amelia, what's the deal then?
2 up top, 2 down.
Oi, Amelia, what's the deal then?
2 up top, 2 downstairs.
All right, so we just go prancing in the front door as per usual then, huh?
Not today, hermano. We must... We'll do the trick. The fog of war. Remove all visibility. We take them out one by one. They won't know what hit them.
Oi, who's that behind you? Look, here's what we do. Surprise attack. We go in big chicken dinner style through the window, guns blazing.
You mean like in Miramar?
Oh, shit.
Enough. First, we smoke out the first floor. But we'll need a distraction. Something super loud and obnoxious.
Right, I see where this is going.
Don't worry, Aziz. I got your back.